All right, greetings. I want to give everybody a quick walkthrough of my latest creation, which is this bag here, which is currently stuffed with some jumbo bubble wrap. And I'm going to do the walkthrough as a comparison to this, which you've probably seen pictures of, you've seen the site. It's monochrome. This is actually the very first of what I call the All-Stars, if I'm not mistaken. And the difference between the AllStar Backpack and the Fundamental is the straps. The Fundamental has regular straps that have nylon. The AllStar is whatever the shell material is and the lining material through and through. And they're both fully adjustable. So this is the original AllStar. The side pockets, which is a distinguishing attribute aspect of the new one. The side pockets go straight across and they're in the seam. Also on the interior, the laptop pocket is actually raised a little bit. Not raised, but there's a gap. So it's actually stitched into the lining as opposed to into the seam. This is also cork, as I said, monochrome. And this, my dear friends, is, we'll call it the AllStar Mark II. So you can already see the pockets are a little bit poked out. I may modify that once again in the future, but these outside pockets are never really for anything major. Like in my bag, I think I carry floss in it. It'll hold a small water bottle or a medium water bottle. It's not for anything that's intended to be super secure, just like something's in your hand, you need to put it down for a second, or get it out of your hands for a second. Then we'll load that. So this particular bag is actually my first real leather bag. I bought a cowhide from the leatherhidestore.com. I believe they're on Instagram too. I'll probably tag them. It's brown. This is actually also a repeat, or a bag for a repeat customer. They originally got a faux leather product with the same colorway with the cream interior. And this was several years ago, and they used it every day and they wore it out. So I offered to perhaps make them a leather bag to see if it would last a little longer, be a little more durable. Also with leather, I'll retain all the leftover pieces, all the remnants, and should something wear out, I can just go ahead and, add a patch on and it'll add some extra character. For example, I made one of the first and ones I made was brown cork with a pink interior, I believe, and that one got worn out too. And so I took a piece of pink cork and cut it into a heart and stitched it over the little part that wore out and is good as new. Back in business. So the outside pockets on here, you see I put darts here, so it's raised. It's not flush to the side of the bag anymore. And so there's a little bit of gap here, and also you get the added little detail of the trim being on the outside. And so what this does is it takes it out of the seam, which means that the thickness here is actually reduced. So that way the closing of the bag, or the final step of the bag, is actually a much smoother process. And that's also important because for the laptop pocket, I now do it flat across so that the edges of the laptop pocket are actually in the seam of the bag, and that makes that part simpler and easier. And some of my design decisions are about aesthetics, and some are about practicality and ease of construction. These were primarily construction-based decisions, but it looks pretty cool too. The other thing I realized though about the laptop pocket is that in the other bag, rather in the original AllStar, when it is raised, especially with a thinner material here, it just takes up space because it's pushed out and it could get in the way. Not to a huge extent, but just it's in the way. Whereas here, the space is only going to be made as you put something in, right? So you still have the full 12-inch width. Obviously, if something is really, really deep, then it's going to shorten the sides because geometry. But I like the look of it being flush against the back. The other actually major distinction, which I did include in, I guess the sample I made before this, is this part of the laptop pocket has always been padded, but the actual backside of the bag was not always padded. And so if let me see if I can show where it's at. Yeah, this line here, let me pull these out so you can actually see how these straps work too, and make it a little more obvious. And the straps are designed to basically, you know, set it and forget it. I do not personally know anyone that adjusts their backpack straps all the time, unless they're late for a bus. But I imagine if you're carrying one of these stylish pieces, you're not gonna be the kind of person that's running for a bus or late for something. So that's just a story I tell myself. All right, so slide it down. Here goes the strap. Like I said, lining, match the inside, kind of pulls everything together. So the foam on the inside, I do it up to here. So you can actually kind of see, it may not show up too much in the camera, but this line right here is actually foam that's adhered to the shell. So that way, whatever electronic or thing you put in the bag is protected on both sides, which is a first. The other thing that is somewhat unique about this bag, I do it on all of them. I'm gonna turn it inside out for you guys. I do this on all the bags, but it's more obvious in this one because of the contrasting colors, is this stitching here. So I like kind of an industrial look, which to me means there's some demonstration of the construction process. And so this is this right here that holds the straps, has the straps anchored in. These are also the rivets. On the sides, this is also where the side pockets are stitched in, so you can kind of see where there's space. And there's two things that this does. One, it allows me to have some more of the outside color, like this, on the inside of the bag to tie everything together, but without overwhelming the inside. Because the alternative would have been to make the trim all brown, which some people might have liked, or even do contrast stitching on the quilting here for the laptop pocket. But I felt like that would have been too much. So I like that there's just tiny accents that kind of remind you of the outside and pull everything together. This seam here, coming across the top, is the seam that is now easier to finish and also stronger, more stable, because the edges of the pocket have been removed. So there's no change in thickness here, which may never compromise the stitching, but it definitely gives a flatter, smoother look on the inside and on the outside. So that is basically everything. The two major changes, or three major changes rather. The pocket is now just a little bit more open, not stitched into the seams, or the outside pockets rather. The laptop pocket is into the seams, and it's done in a way that it does not cause any kind of obstruction. And the extra foam. There is also on all the AllStars and the fundamentals this outside pocket, which, as you might have guessed, everything's all aligned. Yeah, I think that's it. Even the handle, shell and lining all the way around. So whatever color you pick, or honestly, if you are a more eccentric person and want a whole bunch of different colors on the inside of the pockets and on the back side of the handles or the back side of the shoulder straps, then you can do that. Let me know. All of these bags are at present made to order. At some point in the future that will change, but as of right now, the designs are set, but the colorways are fully customizable. All right, on to the next. Peace.